Today in Ludlow, we commemorate a man-made disaster brought on by the force of human greed and the perpetration of hatred and control over the lives of struggling miners and innocent women and children. My grandfather, Frank Radosevich, yes, another Frank, came from a small town in Croatia in the early part of the last century. He was part of the wave of immigration from many countries that helped provide the labor for the developing coal industry in this country. With a job as a miner, he sent money back to his hometown in Croatia for a prospective wife. My grandmother Bernarda was several years younger, so she really did not know Frank when she set out at 18 years of age to come to America, the promised bride of a coal miner in northern New Mexico. I have heard coal miners talk about the danger of their work, saying, "You know you are going into the mine, but you don't know if you're coming out." When Bernarda left her mother and her home in the old country, she knew she was going to a new life. And she didn't go back. She never saw her own mother again. Bernarda told me she was afraid of the food on the boat as she crossed the ocean, so she would only eat what she had with her in a small basket of food. She crossed this vast country, finally meeting Frank in Cimarron, New Mexico, where they were married in June of 1911. They lived in the company town of Dawson, where my father, John, was born in January of 1915, the second child of Frank and Bernarda. When my grandmother spoke of those days, she said, "Frank, he was a good man, a handsome man. He worked hard, but he drank too much." One year they moved 13 times from camp to camp in the coal mining region. Frank complained that after a strike, the company would raise the rent on the company-owned house. Life in the home was difficult, as was work in the mines. In 1913, 263 men died in an explosion in the mine at Dawson. My father's younger sister, Mary, was born in the coal mining camp of Brilliant, New Mexico, 7 miles northwest of Raton, near the Colorado border. It is this sister, Mary, who is the mother of my cousin, Mary Elaine. Another sibling was born in Segundo, and 4 more in Dawson. In the 1930s, 3 of Frank's sons, my uncles, also worked as coal miners. Frank left the family, who had by then moved to Walsenburg to work in the coal mines near Rock Springs. He died there in 1943. Today, we remember Ludlow. It was outrage over the death of innocent women and children at Ludlow that helped bring a change to the deplorable conditions of the miners and their families. People did survive the coal mining wars, and we are better because of the hard work of our forebears. Our grandfathers and grandmothers went on to raise their children and build better lives through their hard work and perseverance. Though they didn't talk much about the hard times, we can never take them for granted. We are here to remember them, to honor them, to give thanks for their sacrifices and work, to acknowledge that they lived, loved, and yes, laughed. I remember my grandmother Bernarda talking about my own father as a child. He was an adventurous type who loved to wander the hills around the coal mining camps. He would take off without a thought for his mother's worry. She said, "I'd get so mad. I'd run after him and I'd yell, 'I'm gonna kill you when I find you.' But when you come home, I am so happy. I give him bread and butter with sugar. I do know how to make jelly." These are the little moments we remember, the everyday moments that speak of a mother's love for her children, moments never to be taken for granted. It was my father's sister Mary who met the son of Mary Petrucci, my Uncle Frank. Confusing. Anyway, their daughter is my dear cousin, Mary Elaine, who stands beside me today. As cousins, we share a common legacy and appreciation of the history of Ludlow.